Right, hello everyone. So let's take a look at this weekend. Today is the 14th. Now I've already posted the swing days and the swing hour for Monday. Swing days for the week, the swing hour for Monday on the weekend. So you already have everything for the opening of the week. Now here, as you can see, we've got gold going up. It's all good, not a problem. We said we should be going up. I've marked in these levels before. They're on a weekly chart, so we'll be like up and down going in that direction. The first resistance in front of us is this 81.55, which is 2,680. Okay, which we should get there. Okay, so 2,680 for us is going to be on the cards. All right, so if the market does pull back into here, okay, back into maybe the low of Friday, or dip down to take out a level here, so for example, okay, this zone will be okay to buy. All right, now I've also drawn some trend lines here, but these are not your standard trend lines, although I've done them for the short term. So okay, these are, as you can see, they're like going in the sky somewhere way off. So if we do pull back into this zone, okay, so we want to be in this zone. All right, if the market does come back, we don't mind buying from here or buying on this line here. All right, so you can mark this zone in with this green like frame I've just done. That's your manipulation bar there before the market starts pushing up. The same kind of thing is here as well. So if we come down, dip down, and then start pulling up, it's okay. I think we can buy again to push up into that zone. The weekly pivot also is going to be for us a place of interest as the market comes down from here to push up. So if we are down on a trading hour, then obviously buying is not a bad idea. All right, and that's the impulse wave here. Remember, Thursday was a swing day, so if you bought Thursday from the low, which I said you should have been just fine. And because that's the impulse coming back down here into this 37.5 25 zone is legit, and we can go long if the market dips back down there. Okay, so we'll just remove that. If the market alternatively goes up, breaks out, and then comes back without hitting that, then buying again to go there is okay, but I'd be a bit more cautious because of the gap here. There's also a bit of a gap where here and here. Okay, also guys, keep an eye out for the news, as you can see. All right, so that's the news for the whole week. So we've got Thursday being the main thing, and other than that, we don't have anything else. So today, as you can see, nothing. This week, only Thursday. Also, if you take a look at your swing days, you'll see some things there on Thursday as well. All right. Euro dollar. Let's take a look at the euro dollar. Now, euro dollar, we talked about this zone, remember? And for the euro dollar, we've got a swing day coming up later. Now let's take a look at the weekly. Okay, so this is the weekly. As you can see, we still have some room to come down. Where to into that 45.19 at least, which is 1.0880, and then we've got 1.0832, 0810. So from 0880 downwards onwards, let's see, we've got 1.0880 is there, and we've got 32 all the way down here. Okay, right, and we'll get rid of that too. Okay, so the market still has a bit of room to come down, which is fine. Okay, these were the swing hours on Friday, so if you've sold the highs, it should have been also okay. If you bought the low, you should have been also okay as well. I did say this is a bit of a buy zone. All right, as you can see, the market is in here now. We have to be careful here, and I'll tell you why. Because they've been dipping into it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, and on all occasions the market has closed on the border or in this zone, okay, which leads me to believe that we could be going shorter. Okay, so we still have room to come down. Now, I did say we should go above this level and then sell off again, and that can still be the case. If you want to buy here, I don't mind doing it. Just be cautious about it. 1.0907 and 0842. So 0907 is here. 0842 is down here. All right, so this is how we can check this out. So if you want to keep pushing down, I think you can. As you know, I don't like to sell inside a place where the market bought heavy. If I was to move this down a little bit, I'd really need to be careful in this zone here, okay, as this is the long wick bar, okay, and the market tapped in there, so I'd be careful in there. And there's also a big gap here, as you can see. There's a gap there plus this gap here, right, which the market might come and fill, which would be good. If it did, it will give us an opportunity to go long. All right, if it pushes down into this zone, because it's got room to go down as well. Why? Because of this here. And remember, I talked about this before. Okay, so we want to go twofold down, which should bring us into 1.08. Okay, so we should be dipping into here. All right, and because we should be dipping into here, it should come up and then push down. Then we should go for a long, possibly with a wick happening into this gap, and then market pulling up. All right, so this thing does have some room to come down, but we should sell if it pushes up. So if you want to buy the push up, then you might want to wait for the swing day to happen. If you want to trade, you might want to wait for the swing day to happen. Alternatively, if you say, well, you know what, I'm going to buy from this zone on the PST, and I'm going to target 29, 33, and so on, 35 into that zone, you can at 0842, and then you can kind of like target 0938, 0952, 0960, all right, which is doable. Okay, you can target those zones, which are like in this zone here. All right. Alternatively, though, we should kind of go higher and sweep the stops here and then sell off. So keep an eye out for that 1025 as well, because that's logical too. Let's take a look at the SP500. Now SP500, as you can see, we're still pushing up, and it's not a problem at all, because I did say if the market breaks out, you know, you can just follow it through, and the market's like, you know, going up. And remember, we've marked in that level before. Okay, because that's the mirror of that. So I said once it breaks out, we should hit into that zone, and that's where we're going. So it's not a drama. We've still got room to go up. If the market comes back down today into 63, doing a good buy, it's at 5793. That was a target from last week. 5793 is there. So this is a place where the market will also buy, which is logical. That's a good buy kiss there, filling in the gap there. So if the market dips down a little bit and you want to buy, it's okay to do so. If it keeps pushing up, don't buy it. Okay, you buy only when the market pulls back to a cheaper price. Why? Because it might just do a 1, 2, 3 tap and then push down. Okay, and Friday also was logical. I did say if it pulls back, you can go long. These were the swing hours, and the market just went up, no problemo. Okay, so if we dip down again into this zone, which is where the market broke out, so anywhere between the daily pivot and here, but preferably lower because of the gap here. If it comes down into a trading hour going long, I think is okay with these, and you can follow them up 25866 at least to kind of like push it up. On the weekly, as you can see, we're right on a resistance there, so if it keeps pushing up above 5,822, we've got room to go up. Okay, so it's there. All right, and the first target is going to be that 70, so be careful, which is 5,888. All right, 5,888 is going to be your first target. Okay. All right, so we're up there. If we pull back down for the week, we might have potential to go there. Okay, but like I said, don't buy at the tops here. The market will probably want to pull back. You can wait for that Asia session as well, and then trade accordingly too. No, not the Asia session, the US session. Yeah, wait for the US session and trade accordingly there, because that's the indices there. All right, in London, if it pulls back into here, does a sweep on the weekly pivot is also good. Sweeping the stops here and then pushing up is also good. So if you want to do that too, that's also understandable, no problem. Let's take a look at Dow Jones, Nasdaq, and Bitcoin. Now, Dow Jones, no problem. It's expected. We said we should be pushing up, so that's what the market is doing. Weekly pullback 68, that's 42,674. So any pullback into 42,674 is around there. If we come back here, or the weekly pivot is also legit. This is a good spot too. The weekly, the lower Friday, sweeping stops at these levels, dipping into these levels, I think is good to go long as well. All right, so going up into those targets, you can mark them in. Your first target is 72,43,038. If it pushes up before it comes down, okay, yeah, don't be too enthusiastic, because once you get to the targets, it can go all the way up. It's not a problem, but once it starts getting to targets, you're kind of like cutting out all the meat. On the daily, the 61 goodbye case is 42,596. 42,596. This zone as well. So if the market dips there, weekly pivot, anywhere where there's a trading hour, and then you can kind of like turn around. This weekly pivot I like because of the gap, so you don't have to rush it, see how things pan out. Let's take a look at Nasdaq. Now with Nasdaq, same kind of thing. Okay, as you can see, now this zone I did say is a sell zone, so last week also I did say, look, maybe we should just leave this alone, because we already came to the targets, and this is exactly what I mean. So once the market gets to the PST targets, it's like, well, do you want to push your luck? So the only time you want to really buy this, if you do want to buy it, is on a pullback down here into 53. That's your first stop, which is 20,046 on the daily. Right, so the only time you can really, the first place you want to think about buying is if we come down into here. Okay, back into the weekly pivot, which is fine. Look, the market is kind of like consolidating. Okay, you see it's been going up, right? Let's do this. Okay, so the market's been going up, and now we're in this consolidation mode. Okay, going sideways. So, we're either going to break out or break down. And if you want to buy, because judging from the weekly, we're right at the resistance there. That red line there is 61, 20,224. So 20,224. 20,224 is pretty much your week daily pivot, which is fine. Okay, which, as you can see, we're here in the market is like kind of mucking around here. So this is kind of your limit. We should dip down, okay, and when we do, the market should come up with some buy reaction, maybe around here, but it should probably stop sweep. So once it sweeps to stops, if it comes down here, I think going up is okay. If it breaks below here, I wouldn't stand in front of it. And there's a possibility that it might, because of the gaps here too. You see there's a gap there and another one there and so on. So we need to be smart about it. If it breaks above the high of last week and then sticks around here, then the pullback into a trading hour is okay to push back up. Okay, but as you can see, this is a bit more tricky, and selling from this zone I think is also normal as well. And this week I don't mind selling at the right day and the right time. Okay, and on the indices you might want to be, you can see the swing days on the members area, so you can see that the market might actually flush through into those swing days. All right, so yeah, let's take a look at Bitcoin. All right, Bitcoin. Now then, here we are. All right, there we are. So on the Bitcoin, remember this weekly place was a bit choppy. I did say we might have a bit more room to come down, but it didn't happen. But it's okay, because remember, Friday was a swing day, or was it Thursday? Friday or Thursday was a swing day for this, okay? So we had Monday, and then we had like Friday or Thursday, and then you can see this is like, pushing upwards there. So yeah, this was a perfect swing day. I think it was Friday, really. I'm not sure. It was either Thursday or Friday, but either way, you can see how nicely it worked out. And now we're like in this up move, and we've got room to kind of like close here. Now, as you can see, the market closed below that on this bar. Okay, so the closing of this bar is 59,729 and 59,808. Okay, so that was the low that it did, 59,808, and it closed at 59,729, which is below that low. Right, so there is somewhat of a bearish mode there. If the market, which it looks like it's doing, is going to sweep that, and the gap fill is there, right? So once the price gap is filled, you'll want to reevaluate. Okay, so if you want to sell or not, that is quite a bit out there on the 70, which is 67,895, which is like all the way up here. Okay, so yeah, so we've got to be careful on that one, because it's broken out. I wouldn't stand in front of it. Okay, but this is your weekly 55, 65,373. So 65,373 is about here, right? So that's a nice target as well on the weekly. So if you pop up into there at a trading hour swing day, selling would not be a bad idea. Okay, and that's about it. And if it does sell, okay, if it does sell, once it does that, then on the weekly, as you can see, you just have to be careful. If it breaks above that 55.49 and closes above it, sticks around there, don't muck around, because you're going to be against the trend. Okay, at the end of the day, just an impulse move and just a flag formation. Okay, and once the market goes up, if it breaks out, that is, there'll be room to go all the way up there. Okay, so don't stand in front of it trying to sell it. If it breaks out on a PST, it's what I'm always saying.